coming in. This is a development that has now taken place in the US court. Let's put that out for our viewers. This is the US Supreme Court which has now cleared Mumbai attack convict Tahawwur Rana's extradition to India. This is big that we are talking about because this would be a move since 2008 terror attack in Mumbai that had happened. Will this man now be extradited? Because this is going to be a big development in the terror attack case, as the Supreme Court has in the United States cleared Tahawwur Rana's extradition to India. The US Supreme Court clearing the convict Tahawwur Rana's extradition to India as it's dismissed the review petition against his conviction in the case. Because Bhavtosh, good morning. India was seeking the extradition of Tahawwur Rana, and of course time and again he's been appealing in various courts, but this time around we are looking at the Supreme Court itself dismissing his plea, his petition, and this seems to be the last legal step that he could take.
Yes, it's a very huge development, Mithra, that his extradition has been cleared by the Supreme Court. This was the last legal option that Tahawwur Rana could have used to prevent his extradition to India. Remember, we could not extradite David Headley Coleman, who was one of the mastermind of 2611. Tahawwur Rana, Pakistani origin, Canadian national, in fact, provided all the logistical help to David Headley Coleman. In fact, in gap of providing immigration facilities to Indian nationals, David Headley Coleman set up his business in Mumbai and then subsequently carried out reconnaissance of various facilities in Mumbai. But it was Tahawwur Rana who was not only in touch with David Headley Coleman but also with Lashkar-e-Toiba's top brass, including Hafiz Saeed. And he was in fact also was aware of the entire conspiracy of 2611. In March 2020, he was in fact arrested and then lodged in Los Angeles prison. For past 5 years, India was in fact working in close tandem with US authorities. His appeal were continuously being rejected by several courts. In August 2024, the US Court of Appeals upheld the order of the District Court, and then subsequently he appealed before the Supreme Court. The information we are gathering is just few hours back, the Supreme Court, the highest court in US, rejected his appeal. Now decks have been cleared. Tahawwur Rana will be extradited to India. There are several cases that have been filed against him in India, including by the Mumbai Police Crime Branch, and then subsequently when NIA was set up, NIA also filed its own case against Tahawwur Rana. As briefly as far as the case is concerned, 2611 was in fact masterminded by ISI along with Lashkar-e-Toiba. Tahawwur Rana is a Canadian national of Pakistani origin. He in fact provided all logistical help to David Headley Coleman. He used his business facilities to set up a travel agency in Mumbai, then carried out reconnaissance of all Mumbai's icon, whether it was Taj Hotel or whether it was the Jewish facility, and then sent all these videos to Lashkar-e-Toiba masterminds, and then this is how this dastardly terror attack was carried out on 2611. But a huge success for Indian authorities because decks have been cleared and Tahawwur Rana will be extradited to India.
Right, because Bhavtosh, as far as when it comes to the casualties are concerned, the victims are concerned, what happened in that cowardly terror attack back in 2008 also included American citizens. And when it comes to the multiple appeals that Tahawwur Rana has been making to the US Supreme Court, citing the very principle of double jeopardy, which prevents a person from being tried or being punished twice for the same offense.
Amita, as far as double jeopardy is concerned, what India had said is that there are foreign nationals who died, but he was in fact carried out a terror attack in India. So he committed an offense on Indian soil. The individuals who died, they died on Indian soil. It was a transnational terror act where Pakistani masterminds were sitting in Pakistan. They coordinated a terror attack sitting in Pakistan, where Tahawwur Rana was aware of this terror attack for years in advance. Remember, 2611 happened in 2008, but the planning was going on for 1.5 years. This has come out in the testimony that was given by David Headley Coleman. David Headley Coleman, though is still in Chicago prison, had recorded his statement before NIA officials and said that for 1.5 years, he in fact had carried out the reconnaissance of Mumbai's iconic places and then gave all the information to Lashkar-e-Toiba handlers, to his handlers, and these handlers in fact then briefed the terrorist who carried the Fidayeen terrorist who carried out this dastardly, horrific attack. All of them was carried out, and Tahawwur Rana was aware of this. Not even once he in fact alerted the authorities. Though he claimed that he is a Canadian national, but the fact that he was aware of this, he was aware of this entire conspiracy for years, and he never in fact told anyone. He in fact tried his best to prevent his extradition, but because of the mounting evidence that India gave it to agencies, to US agencies, that was the reason, that was the clinching evidence that India had produced that led to his lead to his extradition. The fact that this evidence had been tried and tested at various level, whether it was a district court in US, whether it was the Court of Appeals, and now finally this evidence has been vindicated by the Supreme Court. This clearly shows that India had presented a watertight case to US authorities, and that's the reason why the Supreme Court has rejected his appeal.
So what happens from here on, Bhavtosh, as far as the legal procedures are concerned, if now this appeal and the last legal option has now extinguished, has now expired for Tahawwur Rana, how would the procedure now henceforth begin of bringing him to India?
Well, as far as the legal procedure is concerned, multiple agencies have to work in tandem with each other. The case is being investigated by the NIA. In fact, NIA was set up after 26/11. So they are the one who are investigating this case. There is also a charge sheet, Amita, that has been filed with the Mumbai police. So there is the cases have been filed both by the Mumbai police as well as by the NIA. And as far as extradition is concerned, the only agency that looks after extradition in India is Interpol India or CBI. So all of them have to work in tandem and then bring him back. So US, they have to work with the US. One has to wait and see when this will happen, which is a huge victory for India, that a Canadian national of Pakistani origin will be extradited. The mastermind of 26/11, Tahawwur Rana, will be brought here. And this entire conspiracy that people are still trying to decipher, trying to understand, will now finally be unraveled as Tahawwur Rana will face the music. He will be brought here and he will also be questioned and will in fact, his trial has already been happened in absentia, and he will in fact be brought here and then subsequently face the trial in Mumbai court.
It's more than 15 years that we are looking at. Finally, would it be tried when it comes to the charges that Tahawwur Rana has been facing for his role in 26/11 Mumbai attack? Because he's said to be associated, as you also pointed out, with the LET terrorist David Coleman Headley as well, who was also one of the main conspirators of the terror incident. So exactly what are we looking at as far as the charges that he would be tried when he's brought back to India?
But as far as the charges are concerned, this case, as I said earlier, was being investigated by the Mumbai police. They filed the charge sheet under sections of UFPA, and then the charges were filed. Both of them, in fact, their role came out after 26/11 when FBI, in fact, arrested David Headley Coleman. And then subsequently, that information was passed on to Indian authorities. And that's how this entire conspiracy was unraveled. India knew that Pakistan was involved in this 26/11, with the larger conspiracy of foreign nationals being involved. Came out after 2 years. It was in around 2010 that the role of Tahawwur Rana, David Headley came out, and then that's how India and the world came out the larger conspiracy, in which was who were settled abroad, whether it was David Headley Coleman, whether it was Tahawwur Rana, Major Samir, Major Iqbal, and how all of them in fact were planning to carry out this huge terror attack, and how Pakistan at various levels tried to hide this fact.
Right.
Now, Tahawwur Rana
just stay on with us, because this is a big breaking development that we are getting to know. Let's get in Mr. Kulkarni also on board with us. Mr. Kulkarni, what do you make of this? Because the last legal chance or option Tahawwur Rana had, he's lost that battle in the US Supreme Court.
I think it's a very, very important, a very clear decision that involves and states very clearly that this man was involved and was involved all along. And therefore, his extradition helps us to ensure that this man is now put to justice, because it has been for far too long for his, trying to use all means to stay away from the Indian justice system. I think the US has done it well, that he must be extradited. I think we must be given full credit to the diplomat to ensure that this man comes back, a criminal who has created so much You can well imagine what happened in Mumbai and how he was responsible by changing names, calling himself by all kinds of names. But he is the person who was truly responsible for the chaos that he created. And it also would let us know how deeply involved was the ISI of Pakistan into the entire thing. I think everybody will be exposed, and it could be better for the Indian system to get this man in and justice be given. I personally would say he should be hung to death.
Well, it's been a long legal battle that we're looking at for justice for over 160 victims. That also included foreign citizens as well, including that of America. But however, the extradition that has now been cleared of Tahawwur Rana. Thank you very much, Mr. Kulkarni. To you, Bhavtosh, as well. This is a big breaking development. Getting you the first reactions right here on Times Now. We will be back on the other side of a very short break.